Welcome to the Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. We're here in the studio tonight with, and hopefully helping you go home this evening, with Chris Compton. We're going to be talking about tax protesting, property tax protesting. And so, Chris, we're going to bring Chris in. We've got an impact show, guys, with the new tax bill. Property taxes, to me, and protesting them has become even more important. The numbers here are 281-837-2222. That's 281-837-2222. My name is Shad Bogany. We're here every Tuesday from 6:15 to 7:15 to talk real estate, also talk about property taxes. It's a lot of things going on. The legislature is looking at property taxes right now. They've got some proposals. We don't know which way it's going to go. We hear that everybody was singing Kumbaya in the beginning of the session, and everybody's talking about each other's parents. So at this point in time, we're going to bring Chris Compton to kind of give you a safe way into what you can do with your property taxes. Chris, welcome back to the Real Estate Corner.
Thank you, Shad. Thank you for having me.
You know, I love your annual trip over here when it comes to tax protesting, and we're a little late getting to you. So let's start off right quick and tell people when they will have the deadline to be able to protest their property taxes.
Okay, the deadline to protest your property taxes is May the 15th. If you have received your notice, you should have gotten it either the end of last month, the beginning of this month, but you have till May 15th. If you get it after May 15th, you have 30 days to file a protest. So if you get it May the 20th, then you have till June 20th to get that protest filed. But a lot of them went out, most of them went out, so you had till May 15th.
Okay, so when's the time should you be filing your homestead exemption? When's your deadline for that?
Well, you want to get it in before the tax bills go out in October. You can file it any time during the year, but you must be in your home by January 1st to file it.
Okay. Now, I got my love letter about 30 days ago.
Yes.
And so when do they normally send these love letters out saying that your property taxes have gone up?
They send them out right at about the end of March. So they give you a little over 30 days to get it done. They send it out maybe the third week of March, and you have till May 15th to get that filed. A lot of people don't even open those envelopes, though.
Right. They're very inconspicuous. Yeah, they
That's
come
correct.
in, and you look at them, you toss it to the side. It's sort of like your insurance bill
Right.
that you get. You just kind of toss it to the side, or it's some more advertising.
And it says, this is not a bill on the front of the envelope, so you just kind of throw it over to the side.
Because it's not a bill.
That's correct.
At least not at this time.
Right.
The numbers are here, 281-837-2222. My name is Shad Bogany. If you're driving home, we're talking about tax protesting, property tax protesting specifically with Chris Compton. Chris, what's your phone number so people can call you if they need to talk with you?
281-591-7856.
We're talking with Chris Compton. The numbers here, if you want to call in and talk to Chris, is 281-837-2222, 281-837-2222. Give us a call. I want to thank Jermaine Freeman for helping us produce the show. I'd be remiss without mentioning my sponsors, Prosperity Bank and American Title at 5802 Valverde. The numbers are here again, 281-837-2222. So Chris, what are the types of exemptions that you can get with filing for your property taxes? What are those exemptions?
Okay, the standard one you can get is a homestead exemption. If you are a homeowner, it is a must that you have a homestead exemption. For older senior citizens, they have this over 65 exemption that freezes your taxes when you turn 65. They also have a disabled veterans exemption that you can file. All you need to put on the forms is what % disabled you are, and you can get a real big reduction on your property taxes.
Now, does the spouse have any exemption? If your husband was a veteran, he passed away, you're still in the house, does the spouse have an exemption?
Yes, it's simple on the form. It says surviving spouse of an armed service member killed in action or surviving spouse of first responder killed in action. They have exemptions for that.
Okay. You know, guys, I've said this over and over. If you've been listening to me or watching me on Saturday morning or Sunday evening, you've heard me make this comment several times. And the comment is that we really don't need a property tax increase if everybody would pay their fair share. And to me, that's the real deal is paying your fair share. It is amazing to many of how many of you guys out there that don't file your homestead exemption. It's amazing to me that how many of you over 65 and you've never filed the over 65 exemption, or you handicapped and you don't file that exemption, or your child is handicapped and you're caring for them, you're able to file exemption. So why don't we do that, Chris?
Because a lot of us just don't know, Shad. A lot of us just don't know. It's amazing. I've seen people been in houses 10, 15, 20 years, have never filed their exemption. Then when I tell them about it, they'll say, well, we didn't know. I got one friend mentioned that today. He said he gave his friend an exemption, say, hey, you need to fill this out on your home, a homestead exemption. 2 years went by and he never did, say he just forgot all about it.
Okay. Well, what you're doing is putting money in somebody else's pocket, like the state and the county, in filing that. Now, let me share this with you. There on a couple of evaluations. You have your appraisal valuation, which comes if you, what we call a market valuation. That's the determination between buyer and seller of what you're going to pay for a house. Right. Secondly, we have the assessed value. The assessed value, usually from the appraisal district, and we're going to ask Chris how that's done, but the assessed value is what they assess the house to be worth, and that's what they tax on that end. And a lot of us think oh, my property just went up in value. Oh, honey, the house is worth more than what we've got here. And so those are the sort of misnomers that people have. Right. So Chris, how do they determine what the value is going to be?
Okay, the district is supposed to go out. They're supposed to look at the sales in the area to determine the market value of your home. Now, the market value, as you said, Shad, and the appraised could be different if you have a homestead exemption, because your market value could be 30, 40, 50,000 more than your appraised if you have an exemption. Without that exemption, though, you could have market value and appraised value the same.
You know, and I've also noticed that if you go out and check market value in some neighborhoods, the houses are actually, the appraisal value from the taxing authority is higher than what the house is really worth.
That's correct.
And so this is why it's so important. Even if you don't plan to protest, guys, you need to at least tell them you're going to protest.
Right, that's correct.
Am I right, Chris, on that?
That's correct.
So the appraisal district form for homestead exemption, can you do that online, Chris, or do you have to go down there?
Well, I like to walk it over, Shad, because they get so much paperwork come through and it get mixed up. I make a copy, I take it over to them, I let them date stamp it for me, I give them a copy, and I have a copy. So now, when it comes for that year and it's supposed to be on my property, I have it, and if they made a mistake, we can go back and correct it.
All right. For those who like to do it yourselfer, so Chris, if somebody wants to do this on his own,
yes,
how do they go about getting this done?
All they have to do is go online. They can print out the forms. If you want to protest, they have what they call an iFile, which I don't suggest you do.
And what is iFile?
iFile is you can file it online, and the appraisal district will contact you and make you an offer, or they'll say, hey, the value is good, we're not going to change it.
Okay.
Or they'll throw you a bone out there and say, okay, we'll lower it $5,000. And if you say yes, okay, they'll reduce. Now, if you would have protested and went in, it might have got reduced $10,000.
Wow, wow. So the areas that you cover in your protesting?
Yes.
What are they?
I cover the whole state of Texas.
So, and commercial business too?
Commercial, residential, personal property, which is going to take a big hit this year, which is all the individual stuff you have inside of your buildings. You also have to pay taxes on chairs, tables, computers, all of that you pay taxes on. Okay.
So who does, on the commercial side, are these big office buildings, they're probably hiring people like yourself to protest?
That's correct.
All right.
That's correct.
And so their whole goal is that, hey, this value is not really this value because we've got leases and we've got commercial supplies. So when you buy a house, you get something in the mail that says, hey, what did you pay for your house?
That's correct.
If you own a business, they send you out something that says, give us an inventory of what you got.
That's correct.
All right. Now, I know we're on the real estate corner, and I know that we're doing this on Iconic TV on 15.10 on Saturday morning and Sunday. And if you're driving, I don't want you to go off the rails or hit anybody. Should we be turning those in, Chris?
No. No.
So we should not be turning those property tax, because they do send it out.
Yes.
Now, let's hit our homeowners who just bought a new home.
Yes.
Home took 6-8 months to build.
That's correct.
How are the appraisal districts handling that right now?
Well, if your home wasn't 100% complete as of January 1st, that's the deadline to put the valuation on home. If your home wasn't completed until February, March, you should just be paying taxes on a vacant lot.
But don't they have a squad? Don't they have a housing squad, new home squad that goes out looking for those properties?
Well, they're very short-handed. Now, you got to think it's 1.5 million pieces of property in Harris County. They don't have enough staff to go out and look. They do get a copy of all the permits that are taken out on new construction.
Okay.
But they can't get out there to look at everything. So they look at a permit, and if a permit was taken out last year in May of last year, they'll say, okay, the house got to be finished. Now, anything could have came up to where it didn't get finished January 1st.
Okay, so if the house was not finished January 1st,
Right.
you should be probably paying on land value.
And partial, the foundation, if the frame was up, then you should be paying on just the lot and the frame.
Okay.
Yes.
And, all righty, we've got a caller holding on line one. Let's go ahead and take that caller. Hello, caller, how are you? What's your question, caller? Yes. All right, I turn that over to Chris.
Okay, all you need to do is go on HCAD's website and go to forms and download the homestead exemption form, and it's very simple to fill out. All you have to do is put your name, address, and it's just to show that you live there. They want to know were you in there January 1st, and you also have to put a copy of your driver's license to show that this is your permanent resident. If your driver's license address is on there, you put it on the form, make a copy, turn it in, and for that year, it will be 2019. If you didn't have it for 2018, you can go back and file it for 2018, get your refund back. If not, you can give me a call in my office and I'll send you one, 281-591-7856.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Corner. You're listening. For those who are on TV, and for Saturday morning, the caller was, and what Chris just did was give out the rules of filing for your homestead exemption. You also get your blessed letters that come out every year that basically says, if you send me $75, I am going to file your homestead. So I'm going to bless you, but keep you from having to do it. I'm going to do it. So Chris, should they be doing that too?
No, they should not. You do not have to pay any money to file a homestead exemption. It's just a simple form you print out, you fill it out yourself, you can take it in or you can mail it back into the appraisal district. That's all you have to do.
Guys, we're going to take a quick break. My name is Shad Bogany. I'm host of the Real Estate Corner. I'm with Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green. You're listening to the longest running radio show on real estate in the city of Houston. We've been on the air now 28 and a half years. And now we're on KWWJ 1360. So if you was flipping through the dial and you caught us, you had 1360 AM or 96.9 FM. We simulcast at the same time. The numbers here again are 281-837-2222. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back with the Real Estate Corner and my guest, Chris Compton. Thinking about buying or selling? Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Get survey, put a home on the market, review the net sheets, taxes, advice on financing, homestead exemptions, advice on insurance, what kind of mortgage, inspections, considering offers, negotiations, submitting an offer, how good are the schools, down payment assistance, title insurance, home warranties, closing costs, final walkthrough. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call, Shad Bogany. Welcome back to the Real Estate Corner. My name is Shad Bogany. We're here with Chris Compton, and we're talking about tonight, we're talking about tax protesting. And if you're just coming back in, and thank you for allowing us in your living room on Saturday morning and Sunday evening. Let's go right to the callers. And Chris, before we go to the callers, give your phone number out, please.
281-591-7856.
One more time, Chris.
281-591-7856.
All righty, let's take the next caller. Hi, you're on the air. So, Chris, what should he do? Because what he just talked about was the hidden tax that the realtors have been fighting up in Austin. So what they do, they lower the property value, then your locals raise the assessments up. So they get the same money. It's all window dressing. So what can this caller do?
Okay, now each year stands on its own. You went in last year and got a value reduction. They came right back and raised it back up again. You're just gonna have to protest it again this year.
So caller, what I'm going to suggest you do is get Chris's number, and I will share with you. And for those who are watching me at home, the question was that this caller has a wife that's handicapped, and his taxes just went up $70,000 over the year, which is called the hidden taxes, what we've been telling people up in Austin about, where they're raising the evaluations. They raise the assessed values up, even though they've lowered the property taxes. So Chris, what's your phone number so he can get in touch with you, and tell him how you work?
Okay, my phone number again is 281-591-7856. And if you give me a call, if you would like for me to go ahead and protest it for you, I'll take care of everything. I will come out and take pictures of your property, do everything I can to get it lowered. And I charge a small fee of what I get reduced off of the property. And if I don't get it reduced, you don't owe me anything.
And if you've got a fire,
right?
If you've got a fire there, you should be really protesting this. And the thing that I want everybody who's listening to me to understand, and people who are watching me back at home, is that every county, the appraisal district rules are different. The homestead exemption is not the same in Harris County as it is in Montgomery County. Am I right, Chris?
You're correct.
So even if you move from Harris County to Montgomery or Fort Bend or Galveston, they're all different.
Right.
And so you really, in my opinion, you need to bring in an expert to do it. And guys, all of you who listen to me know, I know property values. I deal with it every day in assessing values for sale. I do not protest my property taxes myself. I turn it over to someone like Chris. And I've turned my mother over to you. I've turned everybody who calls me and says, hey, you need to give Chris a call because I don't do it. And caller, thank you so much, and hopefully you'll give Chris a call. We've got another caller. Hello? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am, you do not. But let me tell you, and Chris, I'll need your help because I'm not an accountant.
Okay.
But I do understand the rules a little bit. They changed their tax laws and said that if you're single, and ma'am, are you single? All right, you've got a 12,000 exemption, so you've got to get enough tax deductions to get over 12,000 to take that $10,000 limit that they left you to be able to protest. So basically what they did with the tax bill is wipe out the tax benefit for home ownership, unless you have a really expensive home.
That's correct.
And so in her case, she should go ahead and take it because she's not going to get enough exemptions to get over 12.
You're right.
So she should take it anyway. You do to go over 12. Okay. All right. Well, God bless you.
Yes, ma'am. And you can go back 1 year also if you want to do that. Say if you go to use 60, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, Chris, thank you. That's a rarity.
That's correct.
Thank you, ma'am. When would somebody make that decision that she's probably got enough income that she's over? Because usually a $12,000 tax exemption is quite high, and if you're married, it's $24,000.
Right.
So she must got really good income.
That's correct.
okay, for that to be able to work, and that's awesome. Numbers again, 281-837-2222. You're listening to The Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. We're here every Tuesday from 6:15 to 7:15. So, Chris, we talked about what are some of the other exemptions for over 65? Would you explain, because you got a deferred exemption,
Yes.
or where you can defer your taxes
Right.
and don't pay any.
That's correct.
Or and then you have the other side of it where you go ahead and file your over 65 exemption and start. So how do you determine which one you're gonna do? And is it an advantage to deferring? Your relatives may not like that.
That was right.
But tell me how that works.
Okay, on deferring those taxes where you don't pay any, down the line somewhere, somebody's gonna have to pay them, whether your kids, somebody's gonna have to pay them, or they're gonna end up losing the property. If you get the homestead exemption and you get the over 65, that freezes the taxes. In Harris County, in the city of Houston, that exemption will go up to at least $200,000.
Okay.
So if you got a $300,000 house, you'll only be paying taxes on $100,000.
Okay.
But now if you wanna defer that and you keep deferring it, somebody down the line is gonna have to pay.
Right. Now, I noticed, I was looking at some taxes in Brazoria. Brazoria doesn't give that big a homestead exemption.
That's correct.
And they have some of the highest taxes out there.
You are right. They are. Brazoria County has taken off just like Pearland and something. It has started booming. They are building everywhere. They got new schools going up, which I never would have imagined for down there because it used to be nothing.
Right.
And now Brazoria County is houses everywhere.
So look like if I lived in Brazoria County, you should be paying attention to your taxes, because most of them are on MUDs.
That's
Not
right.
all of them,
Right.
but the majority of them
Yes.
are on MUD taxes. And for those who are new to the show, MUD taxes are municipality district taxes,
Right.
and it's based on the water companies, because typically they don't hook on on city water. They create this taxing authority bonds, and that's how they build affordable. That's how they create these subdivisions. Am I correct?
That's correct. And the MUDs don't grant the exemptions.
And the MUDs don't grant any. So all these homestead exemptions don't include the MUD.
Don't include the MUD.
Okay. All right.
MUD takes care of all the infrastructure in the subdivision, so they want all their money.
They want all their money.
Yes.
Okay. Eventually, do we pay the MUDs off?
No.
Okay. I thought it was some point that you pay your MUDs off.
No, you always paying MUD taxes if you live in that subdivision that has a MUD.
Okay. All right.
You pay MUD taxes every year just like you pay regular taxes.
Oh, wow. Well, I thought at some point the bonds are paid off.
Just like the tollway was supposed to be paid off once it was finished, right? You still pay for using the tollway, right?
Well, if you're looking at me at home, you can see the expression on my face. So,
That's correct.
Wow.
That's correct.
All right. So once the camel nose is under the tent, it stays
That's correct.
there all the time.
All the time.
All right. The numbers again, 281-837-2222. My name is Shad Bogany. Here in the studio with me is Chris Compton. All our lines are open. Give me a call, 281-837-2222. We're going to take a quick break. If you're looking for a title company to work with, I'm going to recommend you call Charlene Clancy over at American Title, 713-784-0006. Title company fees are pretty much regulated by the state of Texas. The title insurance is all the same with whatever title company you go with. The key is service. It's all about service. If you're about to buy a piece of property, you says, oh, I don't want a title policy. I just want to check and see what liens are on this property. You might want to give her a call. They charge a fee to check it out, but it may help you there. If you are looking to buy a tax sale property,
Right.
a lot of you guys are venturing that. You've been watching HGTV and late night TV and paying for these seminars, but they don't tell you got to hold that property for so many years before
Right.
you can get rid of it. And some of you have gone out and actually rehabbed the properties.
That's correct.
And you can't do anything with it but rent it. And depending on what title company you go to, some require 2-year, 4-year. I've seen one say 6-year on that, so you need to be careful. We're going to take a quick break. Call Charlene Clancy over at 713-784-0006. That's 713-784-0006. Be right back with the Real Estate Corner. Thinking about buying or selling, real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Get survey, put a home on the market, review the net sheets, taxes, advice on financing, homestead exemptions, advice on insurance, what kind of mortgage, inspections, considering offers, negotiations, submitting an offer, how good are the schools, down payment assistance, title insurance, home warranties, closing costs, final walkthrough. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call, Shad Bargaining. Welcome back to the Real Estate Corner, guys. If you're sitting in traffic, I'm talking to Chris Compton here in the studio, and we are talking about property tax protesting. Property tax protesting. Right here is what the residential homestead exemption application looks like. And so we'll probably have it posted for you at the TV audience so you can get a glimpse of it and print that out. The directions online really tells you how to file that homestead exemption. I'm just surprised that how many people in our community don't file homestead exemption. I know the Houston Black Real Estate Association for a while was going around telling people how important it was to file homestead exemption. But Chris, what they found is not just in the urban areas, it's out in the suburbs too.
Right.
So if you live in Siena,
Right.
Anywhere between 15 to 20% of those people do not file homestead exemption. So I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about some properties that we pulled up. All this is public information. Won't tell you who the people are. Won't just tell you the street they live on, but we won't tell you who they are. But I'm going to turn it over to Chris and show us the inequities of the taxing system that we have.
Okay. Shad, I have them laid out right here. I got one over off of DeWitt, which is over off of Wayside and Lay Road, just on. And you notice I have circled, they don't have a homestead exemption. Their value in 2018 was $48,800. In 2019, it has increased to $83,720.
Wait a minute. They jumped from 48,000
Yes,
to 83.
that's right. Because without a homestead exemption, you have an unlimited amount on what they can raise you to.
Wow, and this house was built
In 1950, no updating, nothing has been done.
okay.
They're going to be in for a big surprise in October if they don't protest this value.
Wow.
Now, like I said, it's on DeWitt, and notice, look at the addresses, Shad. Look at the very next one. These guys are next door neighbors.
Okay.
Same thing, no homestead exemption. I mean, they're right now. Last year the value was $79,500. Now for 2019, it's $132,000.
So the neighbor next door hadn't protested at all either.
That's correct, and they have the very
More than likely the same builder, same
Yes.
house, same layout, because I'm kind of familiar with this area.
Right.
And those were kind of little cookie cutter boxes that they were building back in the 50s.
That's correct.
And wow.
Right.
Okay.
The third one, same street, same neighbor. Here's 3 houses just all right next to each other across the street. No homestead exemption. In 2018, their value was $53,000. For 2019 now, it's $91,000.
That's a huge, huge increase.
They're going to be in for a big surprise. Another one on DeWitt. Seemed like DeWitt, they hit is just unimaginable, but nobody over there has homestead. They went from 38,000 to 64. All of these people are getting 40, 50% increases, and it's just because they don't have a homestead exemption. With your homestead exemption,
And they remodeled this in 1984.
which is time for a remodel again.
That's true. House was built in 1950.
That's right. That's right. Okay, I got a little one over here in my old neighborhood over off of Lavender. Last year, the value was $61,500. No homestead exemption. It's $95,300 now, built in 1944, 800 square feet.
95,000.
95,000.
Okay.
Have one over off of Homestead on Orville. Last year's value was $55,000, no homestead. For 2019, it's $98,000. Built in 1955, no updates. Over off of Conley. I want to say that's over off of OST and 288.
Yeah, Foster Place.
Foster Place.
Familiar with that area?
I mean, as you see, look at the addresses. They match. No homestead exemption. Last year, the value was $98,000. Now, this was a new homestead. It was built in 2005. Last year, the value was $98,000. For 2019, it's $156,000 now. I hope they're going to have a whole lot in their escrow because they're in for a surprise if they don't protest. I wanted you to see I found a little apartment complex over off of Tier Western. They also doing commercial. Here's an apartment built in 1955, 30 units. Last year, the value was $799,000. For 2019, it's $1,392,000 now.
Now, they couldn't file homestead exemption, but what could they do to offset that? I mean, that's almost double.
That's right, for a 30-unit apartment complex off Tier Western. So you know what he's going to have to do to that rent now.
Now, he's going to have to raise your rent. So
That's
if you
correct.
live in there,
That's correct.
you're going to have to pay a rent increase.
Right, if he doesn't file a protest to try to get this value back down, they are going to be in for a rude awakening. Another little apartment complex over off of Weaver, 22 units, built in 1972. Last year's value was $997,000. He remodeled them in 2015, but the value increased from $997,000 to $1,374,000.
Well, I can tell you right now, if he had that sort of balance, he would be in a negative. He'd be feeding that.
You're right.
Yeah, that would be eating all his equity up. And so the only thing they can do is protest.
Right.
And they don't pay any attention to it.
No.
Okay.
No. Now, the last one, I got a little apartment complex, 32 units on Heights Boulevard. Look at the difference. In 2018, the value was $2,681,000. For 2019, it's $2,773,000. He got a 1% increase on his 32-unit apartment complex, but the one over off of Weaver in Tier Western almost doubled it, went up 50%.
And the one in the Heights is worth more
Of course.
than the one on Weaver.
Yes, sir.
So it gets back to the thing that I was saying earlier. It's really not about raising our property tax. It's about everybody paying their fair share. And because there is no universal way of protesting, of determining property value, people are getting hit with this. And I don't understand, how does a property in Weaver go up so double, and this other guy property didn't go up at all? And I noticed Weaver is almost as expensive as the one on Tip Western, which is a better location.
You are right. You are right.
So it's no rhyme or reason.
That's right.
All right, so let's go over to your next one.
All right, I'm going into a very exclusive area now. Now we want to see the difference in taxation. We're over off Memorial Drive. They have a homestead exemption, but last year the value was $3,900,000 even. For 2019, the value is $3,600,000. So the value is going down on Memorial, Shad. That's what they'll tell you. You got an 8% decrease in value on Memorial.
And we know that's not true.
We know, I do believe we know that's not true.
Now, everybody else in these other areas, which I would consider not as nice as Memorial,
Right.
they're getting a decrease in property tax. And this is the thing that I'm saying. We should be up in arms about this.
Right.
You should be protesting this. I can tell you, as Chris just said when he pulled the people on DeWitt, everybody on DeWitt had a
Right.
different property. And I can almost tell you, those little cookie cutters, everybody got the same floor plan just
Right.
about.
Right.
Maybe a garage enclosure or something, but the majority of them.
Right.
Wow.
Another one on Memorial. 2018, the value was $1,985,000. For 2019, it's $1,784,000. 11% decrease.
So how do people on Memorial values go down and people out in Cashmere Garden and DeWitt and Sunnyside and all these places value go up?
Good question.
How do they do that? How do we justify this? But nobody's paying attention.
Nope.
And nobody's looking out for the middle class at all.
Right.
And some of us say this is middle class, but I don't understand it, Chris. What can we do with this?
If we all went down there to protest, it would change because that's what happens in these areas here.
They're protesting their tax.
That's right. They will go down there if their value goes up 1%. That whole area will go down there to protest to get it back down.
Wow.
And we won't.
All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, we in River Oaks now. We
All
on,
right.
on River Oaks Boulevard. Last year, 2018, the value was $8,100,000. For 2019, the value is $7,800,000.
So the value went down in River Oaks, 4%.
4%.
Went down. Now, do you have on here where it shows where, I remember a couple of years ago when we did the show, the person value stayed the same
Well,
the whole time?
the whole time.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And people in Westbury,
Right.
values went up every year.
That's correct.
So this one on River Oaks Boulevard went down 4%.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now we got some. Look at the next guy. Look at the name. I know you know that guy.
I know that guy.
Last year's value was $3,948,000. For 2019, it's $3,895,000. He got a 2% discount, and he's in River Oaks, and you know that name well.
I do, and unbelievable.
And well, look at the next one.
Same guy.
His brother.
His brother. Oh, okay.
That's
They're
right.
using the same guy.
That's right. 2018, the value was $4,551,000. This year's $4,509,000. He got a 1% decrease. Okay, we're still in River Oaks. 2018, the value was $8,947,000. This one went up 1%. It's right at $9 million. So he got a 1% increase. The other one went down.
When they say it's residential homestead multiple, what does that mean?
That means he got either over 65 or he got a disabled veteran. He has another exemption on top
That
of
he's
homestead.
taking advantage of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Still in River Oaks on LLE. Last year's value was $2,156,000. It went up $2,167,000. They basically went up $10,000 on the property.
And we all know that property's worth has gone up.
That's correct.
Because you look at the numbers, I just saw some numbers the other day, the values in Houston were going up about 3.5%.
Right.
So you would just say on $2 million,
Right.
it should have gone up $60,000, $70,000.
That's correct.
And here just went up 1%.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
The very next one on LLE in River Oaks, $2,011,000 in 18. In 2019, it's $2,025,000. It went up $14,000 or 1% increase.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Where I see neighborhood group,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
That means they're supposed to be.
These all rich people?
You can say that too, but they're supposed to be looking at all the sales in that neighborhood. They
Let me
group them all together.
before we finish, let me take a station ID break. Welcome back to the Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. My numbers again, 281-837-2222. I'm shocked at these numbers that I'm looking at, 281-837-2222. Give us a call. I had a caller we were going through with Chris and you hung up. I hope you can give us a call back. If so, the producer will put you right on the air to talk to Chris. We're going through to just show you inequities of the differences in houses that are the lower end value and how different neighborhoods are priced higher. And even though they're nicer neighborhoods, they should be paying their fair share. So when they don't pay their fair share, the appraisal district goes and gets all those little bitty houses.
Correct.
And add those up and raise all those values to offset the person that's living over in River Oaks or West U or so on and so on.
Right.
So the next guy on the list, won't call his name, but you guys will hear a lot from him in the fall. His house went up how much?
In 2018, it was $9,405,000. For 2019, it's $9,523,000. He had a 2% increase.
Wow.
He is in River Oaks Country Club on River Oaks Boulevard.
And only 2% increase.
Only 2% increase.
Wow. Okay.
The next one is still in River Oaks. 2018 value was $2,689,000. 2019 value is $2,696,000. $7,000 increase, 1%.
All righty.
Still in River Oaks. 2018, the value was $3,471,000. For 2019, it's $3,561,000.
Only went up 3%. We've got a caller holding on line one. Let's go ahead and bring this caller on. Okay. Hi, caller. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you? Yeah, the home that you're buying, is it occupied? Okay, they may have a homestead exemption on it already. normally that one would last all the way through the end of the year. Am I right, Chris?
That's correct. You can only file a homestead if you are in the house as of January 1st. So you won't be able to file that homestead until next year. Okay, you have to be in the home January 1st of that year. With you buying it in May, you can't file for the homestead exemption until 2020.
All righty. Now, and good question. If you are in a home, buying a home that's already got a homestead exemption filed on it, you should be able to ride that out to the end of the year.
Right.
And then you need to file in January your
Right.
side of it. If you don't, it goes away.
That's correct.
All right. With the new technology out there, Chris, is the appraisal districts getting better at getting these values right, other than River Oaks?
No.
Okay.
Because, like I said, they have all the technology, but they're so undemand, and it's just numbers. Okay, let's hit this area 5%, let's hit 20 over here. There's too much for them to do, and they're so short-handed.
Okay. So let's go to our next one.
Okay, I got two more, and I want to make sure we get these right. These are off Rice Boulevard, so we're in West U now.
Okay.
In 2018, the value was $943,000. For 2019, it's $907,000. So it seems like West U is going down too.
So the values in West U went down,
Yes.
and okay.
And over off of Wayside and Lay Road, they going up 40 and 50%.
Wow.
The last one.
And the key is that homestead exemption.
That's correct.
So the people who are uninformed are
Right.
not following their homestead exemption. And man, it's amazing what education will do for you. Won't it?
You are right, sir.
Okay, what's the next one?
And the last one I have is again on Rice Boulevard in West U. In 2018, the value was $1,233,000. In 2019, it went down $1,225,000.
So obviously they've got a great person that's protesting their taxes.
Well, but if you get noticed at a lower value from the start, you already ahead of the game.
Yeah, but if you don't, you've already started. And
That's
all
right.
of them going in to protest
That's right.
anyway.
That's correct.
Wow.
That is
wow.
correct.
So guys, this is where I was saying about the inequities of it all. And so to me, you don't have to, you don't really have to, in the process of taxes, everybody's got to pay their fair share. And if everybody's paying their fair share,
Right.
then we don't really have a tax issue. Just as the new tax program that was there, that the current administration passed, that new tax program basically gave the rich a really good tax cut,
Right.
and the middle class, it gave you a little bit,
Right.
and then told you it would be temporary
Right.
in that process. So what I'm hearing people say, that if you don't have a side business or a business,
Right.
and self-employed,
Yes.
you're gonna pay out of the wazoo on your taxes.
Right.
And so this is the inequities. And then you got people who are paying more taxes on property taxes, going out, pushing the rich people to be able to get better tax cuts.
Right.
I don't understand this.
That's correct.
It's like you got cancer from smoking cigarettes and you all protesting the taxes on cigarettes.
Right. Right.
I really don't understand it. The numbers here again, 281-837-2222. We have this fixation for the rich.
Right.
See if we got another caller holding. Hello, you're on the air. I'm doing great. I hope we didn't call your address. The property went to 56 to 59, or your total tax bill went from 56 to 59? Okay.
Well, I think you should protest again this year. It stays on that long as you're in the home. Yes, sir. You're always going to pay some school. Yes, sir.
So you don't get a bigger break on school taxes, really, don't you?
No, because the state of Texas lives off property taxes, and that's what supplies the schools their income.
Okay, so you've got to pay your school taxes in a
Yes.
sense. That's why it's so important that even if I don't have any kids in the school,
Right.
I should be making sure that the schools are doing well,
Right.
because it affects me from a tax side.
That's correct.
All right. Caller, any other questions for Chris?
Yes, sir. We got to fight them every time.
Right, because eventually they're going to go up. So you need to start ahead of time.
Right.
And for those that are at home, the question is, he hadn't been protesting, so his question is, should he start protesting now? Because it seemed like they were kind of holding flat, and now they're beginning to climb on him, for those that are watching us back home. Caller, thank you so much for your call, and I hope you'll continue to listen to the show. Thank you.
And one thing we got to understand, they lost a lot of money last year from Harvey flood.
Okay.
And the school district suffered financially, so now they're trying to recoup some of that money back.
I didn't even think about that.
That's correct.
They cut everybody, so now, except the people in River Oaks.
There you go. There you go.
And West U.
That's right.
So, and guys, I want to live in River Oaks. I want to live in West U. I do want an opportunity. I'm not, just upset, but they learn how to play the game.
That's right.
They've been taught how to play the game,
That's right.
And we have not been taught how to play the game.
You are right.
And if we had been taught how to play the game, then we would go and look at these public records,
right.
Then we'd understand, I'm not player hating.
Right.
I'm not player hating
Right.
on you. I'm just saying I want fairness.
Right.
But it's up to me to make fairness.
Right.
So when these politicians are walking through your neighborhood telling you to vote for them, pull out your property tax bill. Let them know. And you can go online to HCAT, pull these up in any neighborhood that you want to pull up. I wanted to make sure that I didn't show any addresses, but I've talked about, there are people who getting tax breaks and they use tax money for their business.
Right, right. Now you said fair. I heard one guy say fair is what you use to ride the bus with, Chad. Not when it comes down to this taxation.
Okay. Chris, give me your numbers out. I like that analogy,
right.
but I'm an analogy guy, and I like that one. But Chris, give me your phone number. How do people get in touch with you if they want to protest? And I'm sharing with you again, I never protest my taxes. I just turn it over to Chris. When my mother called me and said, son, I want you to pull some comps, I said, no, we're going to let Chris do that. Because if I go down there as a realtor,
right.
They're going to say, we're going to show you.
That's correct.
Yeah, so why would I even put myself in the gun barrel?
That's correct. That's
so,
right.
Chris, what's your number?
281-591-7856.
All right, one more time.
281-591-7856.
Chris, one question we did not ask you tonight before we leave. Can I file homestead exemption on more than one property?
No, you cannot. It has to be your residence.
All right. What if I buy a property from my daughter and her credit was bad, so I go out and buy the property for her?
Right.
And she's living there. Okay. It ain't an investment.
Right.
I just financed it for her through such and such bank.
Right.
So can we file homestead on that?
Not unless you're going to transfer that deed over into her name.
So the deed has to be in their name?
Because you have to turn in a deed to get that homestead exemption for her.
So how do they know? So they're asking me to turn in deeds now?
Yes. Because you got to do a name change on it. And to do the name change, they got to see a copy of the deed.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, guys, you've been listening to The Real Estate Corner. You back at home have been watching us here on Iconic TV and listening to us on KWWJ 1360 and 96.9 FM. I hope this information has been helpful for you. I try to put a little comedy in it, so, because I'm trying to keep from crying. And so, I'm just trying to help it along. But thank you, Chris. Give your numbers out again. This guy is really good at what he does. And if you got a commercial business, you need to be calling him.
Right.
You got that warehouse, that building that you own, and you need to give Chris a call.
281-591-7856. I want to give a shout out to my granddaughter, Sydney. She's 7 years old, and she helped me do a lot of mail out Saturday, and she said, Papa, make sure you mention me. So there you go, Sydney.
All righty. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you for helping your grandfather there. I can't wait for mine to get old enough to help me. 281-837-2222. You've been listening to The Real Estate Corner. My name is Shad Bogany. I'm the host of The Real Estate Corner. I want to thank KWWJ, my producers, Jermaine Freeman, back at the studios in Baytown, and right here in the studio, Crystal Holmes. See you guys next week on The Real Estate Corner with another thoughtful guest. See you next week. Thinking about buying or selling, real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Get survey, put a home on the market, review the net sheets, taxes, advice on financing, homestead exemptions, advice on insurance, what kind of mortgage, inspections, considering offers, negotiations, submitting an offer, how good are the schools, down payment assistance, title insurance, home warranties, closing costs, final walkthrough. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call, Shad Bargaining.